This part of the survey will focus on locations, sometimes referred to as a plant, that fill 20-pound cylinders for the purpose of distributing them to exchange cabinet locations. Data will be collected to compare the accuracy of the stamped tare weight to the actual tare weight of new and used cylinders. Not all packers may have new cylinders, so to collect data for new cylinders, you may need to visit home improvement or hardware stores to complete that portion of the survey. Used or new, we are only looking at empty cylinders. When you arrive, let the plant manager or person in charge know that you are there to do a survey to compare the stamped tare weight to the actual tare weight of empty evacuated cylinders and empty new cylinders. Be sure to follow any safety requirements they may have. It may be best to set up near the area where the evacuated cylinders are located with respect to the fact that a forklift will most likely be used to get them to you. It is recommended that 2 inspectors participate, as you will be handling a number of empty cylinders. A Class 2 or Class 3 scale with a minimum 30-pound capacity is suitable for weighing the 20-pound cylinders. The inspector's scale must be verified for accuracy before using. If the scale is moved, be sure that scale is again verified for accuracy. Follow NIST Handbook 133, Checking the Net Contents of Packaged Goods, Chapter 2, Section 2.2, Measurement Standards and Test Equipment, for ensuring accuracy of the scale. Accepted tolerances for the class of scale based on the test load and division can be found in Table 2-2. The procedures in Section 2.2 are based on those required in NIST Handbook 44, but have been modified to reduce the amount of time required for testing scales in field situations. Once you have selected a location for your scale, aware that a windshield or some shelter from weather may be necessary for accurate results, begin the scale verification process. Use certified mass standards to conduct an increasing load test, with all test loads centered on the load receiving element. Start the test with the device on 0 and progress with increasing test loads to a maximum test load of at least 10% more than the gross weight of the packages to be tested. Use at least 3 different test loads of approximately equal value to test the device up to the maximum test load. Verify that the accuracy of the scale at each test load is within the stated tolerance. Conduct a decreasing load test with all test loads centered on the load receiving element. Use the same test loads in the increasing load test and start at the maximum test load. Remove the loads in reverse order of the increasing load test until all test loads are removed. Verify the accuracy of the scale at each test load. When conducting a shift test, use a test load equal to 1/3 of the maximum test load used for the increasing load test. Apply the test load as nearly as possible at the center of each quadrant of the load receiving element. Verify that the accuracy of the device at each test load is within the stated maintenance tolerances while comparing quadrants. Conduct the return to 0 test whenever all the test weights from the scale are removed. Check to ensure that it returns to a 0 indication. With your scale now verified, you are ready to select your samples. Test multiple lots of empty used cylinders as well as new ones if they are available. Verify with plant personnel that the used cylinders have been evacuated. This is critical to ensuring accurate results. An evacuated cylinder is where the propane is drained along with vapor pressure. Ideally, a minimum of 20 lots, sample size 12 for each lot, should be tested within each plant. Use of the NIST HB 133 random sampling procedure for selecting samples is not required. Choose the worksheet for new or used cylinders based on the type of cylinder you are working with. The forms are very similar. Using the worksheet forms, record the following information for each sample. The stamped manufacturer's code, which is found on the collar of the cylinder. The manufacturer's code always begins with the letter M. For example, M4014. This is column 1 on both the new and used cylinder forms. Next, find the date the cylinder was manufactured. This is always a 2-digit month and 2-digit year. For example, 05-14. This information is also recorded in column 1. Find the stamped tare weight, which is also found on the collar of the cylinder. This begins with TW. This is recorded in column 2 on the new cylinder form and column 3 on used cylinder forms. Determine the weight of the empty cylinder for each sample. This is recorded in column 3 of the new cylinder form and column 4 of the used cylinder form. The stamped tare weight does not include the weight of the cap and label. Verify that the cap and label are either removed from the cylinder before weighing, or that the weight of the cap and/or label is deducted from the gross weight of the cylinder when weighing. The worksheets guide you through this process. Once this information is collected for each sample, complete the worksheet to determine if the cylinders are within the allowable difference of 0.5%, as defined in Section 2.16 of the Method of Sale in NIST Handbook 130, Uniform Laws and Regulations.